Hello everybody, I'm Ron, W7DOA, Whiskey 7 Delta Oscar Alpha. We're going to try to work through a problem here. A friend of mine asked me to look at this. On his radio, under the radio section, and we'll show you that here in just a minute, he was telling me that his radio was showing Chinese characters. And so let's go into that just a second. When you would go into the menu there, and then you would scroll down to settings and device info, there underneath the radio name, he was telling me that in his radio it would have Chinese characters. And so I tried to find where that would be in the radio settings, and the only thing that I could come up with is in the radio ID list here. We're going to take one of these out, we're going to delete it, and just a minute ago you saw that the name was Franklin. I put that in there just to test that. We're going to change this, and again, just so that we all know where we're at, we're in this radio ID list down here on the left hand side right here. We'll go into that radio ID list, and on the radio it said Franklin just a second ago. That's not my name, that's not anybody's name, that's just something I put in here to test. We will change that to we're going to name this radio, I don't know, I can't think of a good name, so we will do one name as my name, which is Ron. We will do that on 1, and then on 2 we will do a different ID, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this isn't a real ID, but this is just a name, and we will name that, let's name it Jeff. Alright, so that would be me as one radio ID and one radio ID as Jeff. Now, when we go back into our channels, we have programmed these before in earlier videos, and if you go into let's say channel 1, that's actually an analog channel. So let's go down here to our first digital channel. That is my radio ID, Ron, would be selected for that channel. And then if we went down here to this one, this is just a second parrot that I made for, we will just say parrot 2 up here on this channel name so that we can keep track of it. But the radio ID that we're going to put on that is Jeff. Okay. So this is not only showing how we can change that on the screen, but we can also have multiple people with different radio IDs using this same radio. So we'll say okay, and then over here in our zones, up here in this left hand corner, we will say this one's Dylan, and these are all channels that have my radio ID on them. And then in this one here, we're actually going to we just named that other one to Jim, so Jeff. So we will name this one Jeff as well, and then we'll show how this all works and looks on the radio when we get it programmed. So we're going to go ahead and plug in our radio here. Alright, and the same thing, we'll go up here to the set program, we'll do set comm, make sure we're on comm 3, click OK, and we are going to write to the radio. Yes, we do want to do that. Now remember, in the last video that we did, we downloaded the contact list, the digital contact list, 109,000, almost 110,000 different contacts. So when we go back to program that's already still in the radio, so we don't need to reprogram that. So when we write, we want to make sure that this digital contact list here is not checked. Otherwise it will take forever to write it. So we will go, okay, we're going to write that. Should take just a few seconds. It says it's complete. And our radio is rebooting right now. If you'll to look, it's booting up after the write. And so we will look at it here in just a second and see how that looks. Alright, so we will go into the menu here, and we just booted this radio up, so it will just be on our very first channel, our very first zone. So we'll click Settings, Device Info, and we will see that the radio name now says Ron. That's what we changed that to, and my radio ID list. Okay, so we'll go back out of there, all the way back out, and we will go down to the next zone, which was Jeff, and then we'll click Menu there, and we will go down to Settings, Device Info, and now we see that the radio name is Jeff because we are on a channel that has Jeff set to it. And not only does it have Jeff, but you can see that it has the fake radio ID that we put in there as well. So Gene, I hope that helps you out. That's the best I can do with changing the name on your radio. I believe that's where it's changed. And so go ahead and check in your radio ID list and see if it's right there. If it's not right there, go ahead and just delete that ID, and then put it back in with the correct information in English. If that still doesn't help, let me know. You have my contact information. So I hope that works for you. Again, my name is Ron, W7DOA. And if this video is helpful to you, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button down below. And if you want to be notified of future videos, go ahead and hit that bell icon next to the subscribe button. And that will get you notified of new videos. Anyway, my name is Ron, W7DOA. I hope to catch you down the logs. 7-3.